Hello and welcome to the instructional video for how to use the Excel risk tracking tool. My name is Mary Beth Cox. I am a quality improvement coordinator in the DBHDS Office of Clinical Quality Management, and you can reach me at the email address shown on the slide. But let's get started. So this is the first tab of the risk tracking tool. The purpose of this tool is to track the incidence or occurrence of common risks and conditions experienced by individuals with developmental disabilities. It can help you track risks and conditions, level 1, 2, and 3 serious incidents, risk triggers and thresholds, and care concerns over time all in one place. I want to emphasize that this tool is optional for providers to use, but it's highly encouraged if you don't already have a tool that you use for this purpose. This is the monthly tracker version of this tool. You will use this version if you want to start by recording the number of incidents or conditions each month. There is also an individual log, which we will also be looking at, where you start by entering data for individuals. So I'm not going to read all of the instructions here. Rather, I'm going to actually describe the instructions as I go through the tool. I do want to emphasize the importance of coming back to the instructions if you ever get stuck. We've tried to make them as clear as possible, so hopefully they should be a good resource for you. I want to show you that the way to navigate through this tool is by the tabs that are at the bottom. So you click on the tab to navigate from one page to the next. It starts with the instructions tab, which is an orange tab, and then we have some definitions, a flow chart, and so forth. So let's look at each one. So the definitions tab is another important resource for you. It has definitions and categories that you'll want to refer to. It starts with giving you the resource of the link to the definitions of serious incidents in the Virginia licensing regulations. Then it provides, these are the same as what is in the licensing regulations, but just so that you have both here at your fingertips. It defines level 1, level 2, and level 3 incidents. It also has a definition of risk trigger and threshold and a definition of the care concerns with the actual categories that are in effect as of January 1st, 2023. I want to emphasize that this page has examples of level 1 categories that you may want to track. So this is a new feature and hopefully this will be helpful to you. The categories for level 2 and level 3 are the actual categories that are required to be reported per regulation. The next tab is the incident review flowchart. This is a flowchart that is also on the licensing website and walks you through the incident review process, starting with an individual event, then flowing into the quarterly review and the annual systemic review. An important thing to know about this flowchart is it references the licensing regulations that are applicable throughout the process. All right, so let's look at the monthly risk tracker. So this is the first place that you will be entering data. And I want to start by explaining that this tracker is pre-populated with a list of common risks and conditions faced by people with developmental disabilities that providers should track. These conditions are aspiration pneumonia, bowel obstruction, choking, decubitus ulcer or an increase in severity of decubitus ulcer, dehydration, falls, seizure, sepsis, and urinary tract infections. So these risks and conditions on this column are not editable. So they're locked and you cannot change them. However, there are several conditions that are suggested to track in the purple text. These are suicide attempt, sexual assault, medication error, and unplanned psychiatric hospitalization. So you can edit these, but they are suggested that you track them. Okay. So next, I want to emphasize that you can add your own risk and condition here that you want to track. So you would simply type what you want to track here, and it will continue throughout the rest of the workbook, as you will see, just like the other conditions that are in the list. So as your incidents happen during the month, you would enter your data for that month. So you can see there is each month here, and they are kind of color coded in a way so that you can clearly see each column and the total. So there is a level 1 column, level 2, and level 3, and the total. And as you enter your data for level 1, 2, and 3 for the month, it will automatically tabulate the monthly total here. And so I'll show you kind of how that works. Here we'll enter some information on cuts and scrapes, just so we can see how it looks. Okay, so it automatically added here to 5 and here to 6. All right, so that is our monthly data. One thing I wanted to also point out is that there are certain boxes that are blacked out. This is because aspiration pneumonia and bowel obstruction and decubitus ulcer will not ever be level 1 incidents, so you don't need to be able to put data in those boxes. The quarterly total tab is not editable at all. It takes the information from the monthly risk tracker and tabulates it here into quarterly totals for level 1, 2, and 3 incidents. So this is basically a reference for you to be able to refer to. It also feeds into the graph. One thing, I'm going to go back to the monthly risk tracker for a second and show you that this is just kind of a note or something to be aware of. If you add something like an event here as a risk or condition, like an ER visit, for example, this could result in counting an incident twice. For example, if you had a fall that resulted in an ER visit, which would be a level 2 incident, you would have a 1 for ER visit and an additional level 2 also for falls. Okay, there's nothing necessarily wrong with doing this. You know, this is these categories here are up to you and what you want to track. However, if you do kind of want to tabulate the number of incidents, like add them going down, this tracker was not designed to do that, but you certainly can do that. It'll just result in counting something twice. So a little tip, if you want to count down, like add up the number of incidents in a column, for example, you can select the rows that you want to add up. And if you look, let's see, it's not down here right now. I don't know why I'm not seeing it. Let's see. There it is. Okay, it wasn't showing it to me. Sorry about that. If you select them all and go down here, kind of in a little to the right of middle in the Excel page, you can see it gives you an average, a count, which is the number of cells, and the sum. So this tells me there are a total of 28 level 2 incidents in January. All right. So let's look finally at our graph when it comes to our tracking. All the information that you put in the monthly risk tracker will automatically give you these graphs. They fill out automatically for you, which is really nice. So here you can see this is the graph for all risks and conditions. It adds up for each risk for each quarter. Quarter 1 is dark blue, quarter 2 is light blue, quarter 3 is this gold yellow color, and quarter 4 is green. And these colors are consistent across the rest of the workbook as well. So you'll be able to see, how many you had for each quarter. If you hover over a bar, it will tell you what it's for. This one is for falls, and there were 12 incidents in quarter 1. One thing I'm going to show you how to do is these graphs are only pre-populated with a few of the add your own categories. Typically there will be 5. There's only 3 here because I'm going to show you how to add more. So the first thing you're going to do is unprotect the sheet. So all of these sheets are protected so that you don't accidentally change any formulas in the workbook. So please be very careful when you're unprotecting anything. You're going to go up to the Review tab and go to Unprotect and click it. You're going to go back to your graph and have your crossbars there select the plot area. So you can see it tells me that's the plot area. You're going to right click and pick Select Data. So it's going to pop over to your quarterly totals. Don't worry about that. You just need to focus on this box that pops up and the horizontal axis labels on the right. So if you go down, you can see all of the risks and conditions that are checked and the add your own. So all you're going to do is just pick the ones you want and hit OK. And now they're going to show up in your graph. Okay, and the last thing you want to do is go back to Review and protect your sheet again so it doesn't get messed up. So this is the one for all risks and conditions. There's one just for level 1 incidents, for level 2 incidents, and for level 3 incidents. So those will help you do your quarterly and annual reviews. The other place you're going to enter data is on your Care Concern tracker. So this is pre-populated with the Care Concern criteria. And as with the monthly tracker, you can add your own. For example, you can see here I've added 2 scrapes in 30 days as maybe another risk trigger and threshold that I want to track for my organization. So as the month goes on, you would enter how many care concerns you had. It will automatically total them for the quarter and for the year. And like the monthly tracker, it automatically graphs it for you in the next tab. And it has the care concerns along the bottom and the number for each quarter graphed in the same colors as before. And you go through the same process to include more of the add your own options to the graph. Okay, so we're almost done. Finally, we're going to go to the quarterly and annual review worksheets. So the purpose of these worksheets is to help you review and discuss your data with your team. It has space for quarterly and annual discussions for both your risks, conditions, and incidents, and your risk triggers and thresholds. So when you meet with your team, you'll go through each of these discussion points, summary of findings, analysis of trends, and so forth, and make your notes here. There are some helpful questions on the right-hand side. You don't have to use these questions, but they might help you have a better conversation with your team. So they're like prompts if you want to use them. So you would enter the dates for your quarter, enter your notes. And the last thing you would do is help decide or determine how you will use this information to inform your quality improvement and risk management plans, and also your systemic risk assessment. Okay, so next we're going to look at the individual tracking log. Okay, so as I mentioned, there is another version which is called the individual tracker. And in this version, you start by recording the number of incidents for individuals each month. or as they occur. It has the same tabs as the other tracker, except it has the individual log, which is where you will start. So instead of the monthly tracker driving the rest of the tabs, it is the individual log that drives the rest of the tabs. So this is where you will enter data. You will start with entering a name and ID. So these are both optional, but it's highly encouraged to use at least one of them so you can sort your data. And you can sort your data using the drop-down boxes here. So if you wanted to just look at the data for me, Mary Beth Cox, you would just choose me and it would sort to just me. And you can go back and select all. So you have to enter data into C, D, and E in order for it to populate the rest of the tracker. So if something is ever wrong and you're like, I feel like it's not putting it in the graph, go back here and make sure all of the columns are filled out. So you'll need to put the date, you'll need to put the risk, which you'll pick from a little drop-down box here. Let me zoom in so you can see it. So there's a drop-down box, just click on it and you can pick from the list. And you'll also have to pick from the drop-down list of what level incident it is. You also have some optional free text to make some notes. Please be aware that this whole sheet is not protected, so be very careful when changing anything about it. Okay, so then once you put data in here, it automatically populates the monthly risk tracker for you. One thing you need to know is that if you want to have additional risks and conditions show up in the individual log as options to choose from, you have to put them here in the monthly tracker. So you can see I've added fracture, scrapes, and cuts. And also I said, put it here. That's where you put your new risk and condition. And I'll show you that because I put them there, they are showing up in the drop-down list here. So that's how you get your new conditions here to be able to select. All right, the rest of the tracker is the same. It will automatically tally up your data and put it in these graphs that you can then use. And again, you would use the care concern also to put data here for your care concerns every month. And that will automatically tally as well. And you have your quarterly and annual worksheet. All right, so that brings us to the end of this review or this instructional video. I want to thank you for taking the time to watch this, and I wish you the best as you use these tracking tools. Thank you very much.